Welcome to this overview of the principle of mitigation of loss in marine insurance. The following was a question from the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers Marine Insurance exam paper of May 2022. Who assured under a contract of marine insurance policy is under an obligation to avert or minimize the losses? Analyze the implications of this statement for an assured under a marine insurance policy. If you have a marine insurance policy, it's important to understand this principle and the implications it has for you as the insured, or assured. The principle of mitigation of loss states that the assured under a marine insurance policy has an obligation to take reasonable steps to minimize any loss or damage that may be covered under the policy. Let's use an example to illustrate this principle in action. Imagine that you are the owner of a cargo ship that is insured under a marine insurance policy. One day, a storm damages your ship while it is at sea. As the assured, it is your responsibility to take reasonable steps to minimize the extent of the damage to your ship. This might include towing the ship to a safe harbor or repairing any breaches in the hull to prevent further damage. If you fail to take such steps, the insurer may reduce or deny your recovery under the policy. This is because the principle of mitigation of loss is based on the idea that the insured has a duty to protect their own interests, and that the insurer should not be required to cover losses that could have been avoided or minimized through the insured's reasonable efforts. It's important to note that the steps you take to minimize the loss should be reasonable and appropriate given the circumstances. For example, it would not be reasonable to expect the insured to spend an excessive amount of money on repairs or to put their own safety at risk in an attempt to minimize the loss. So, as an assured under a marine insurance policy, it's important to be aware of your obligation to minimize any loss or damage that may be covered under the policy. By taking appropriate action, you can protect your own interests and potentially maximize your recovery under the policy. I hope this overview of the principle of mitigation of loss in marine insurance has been helpful.